like we've been waiting for Kyle Dubas to push the button on this plunger for, I don't know, really since the day he arrived from some perspectives. And it also feels like the definition of what that would look like has wavered all over creation. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates that I hope you'll take the time to check out. Penguins are in Philadelphia tonight to face the Flyers. Those same teams will be hooking up 2 nights from now in Pittsburgh. And no, these games don't mean much of anything. And it's possible, if you think about it, that the last one that did mean anything was also against the Flyers right before the break when the Penguins outshot them like 150-10 and still didn't win. But that's where all of this is right now. And it's in Dubas' hands between now and the March 7 NHL trade deadline to make the most of the assets that he has, to make the most of the leverage that he has. And by that, I'm referring to all of the draft picks, notably the 15 picks the Penguins have in the top 3 rounds over the next 3 years. That's crazy. And that can get you stuff, even if it's just getting you younger players who are closer to the NHL and thus closer to being able to contribute to Sidney Crosby's career. But let's not kid ourselves here. What you think about when you're thinking about a deadline for a team that's above only the Sabres in the Eastern Conference is get rid of good players, bring in young players. So if operating from a realistic framework here, you're scratching off, Sid, obviously, you're scratching off guys with no trade clauses like Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Brian Rust, Erik Karlsson, and you work your way right to the player who might come with the most potential value. That's Rakell. He's 30 years old. He's affordable for an additional 3 years. He's got 25 goals. He's having arguably the best season of his life. What's more, you would presume that somebody would be doing some intense evaluations on his play, not just looking at his stats. He's getting everything done. He's just a complete player. And I'm not about to say that he's the prize to be had this season, not when Mikko Rantanen's already changed hands, but he might be the prize of the coming deadline specifically. And as we've seen, usually from the opposite view in the past, that can get you a haul, like a haul and a half, depending on who it is that you're dealing with. And out of the other 31 general managers, you only need one. You only need one to go along with you. You only need one to say that they'll give you a first-round pick in an otherwise fairly even swap that sends Marcus Pettersson and Drew O'Connor in one direction, Danton Heinen and Vinny Desharnais coming back in the other. But is that it? Is that the plunger? Is that the thing that everybody's waiting and wondering to anticipate what's next? Honestly, I think it is. Because if you look at the rest of the roster, the rest of the tradable roster, you're talking about probably forwards who have had an above average season and could help in some depth capacity. You want an example? I'll give you Anthony Beauvillier. I don't know how many of us thought he would hit double-digit goals this season with the Penguins. In fullest context, he's been put in some pretty enviable situations, being out there a lot with Sid. But, you still got to put it in the back of the net, and he's done that, and he's also shown some superlative skating of late. But would any of the players in that category getting moved have you thinking, aha, he did it? No, it's Rakell. And I'm on the record as saying that there's no reason to not entertain offers for Rakell. I don't want him to go anywhere. I'm not blind and I'm not stupid, at least most of the time. And I'd start getting worried at least a little bit at some stage of this Sid thing if you keep getting rid of his good line mates. But you have to hear it. You have to hear what's out there. But I do have another qualifier here that I want to attach to this. I really, really, really hope that the Rakell trade isn't used as a vehicle to additionally dump off Tristan Jarry's contract. Unless it is crystal clear, painfully clear to everyone that that's the cherry on top. There has to be a legitimate franchise-improving trade before anyone would agree to take on Jarry's contract. I just wouldn't want to see a player of that caliber and an asset like that utilized to address an obvious and glaring mistake. If somebody's going to overpay, let it be in terms of prospects or draft picks, but not in terms of cap space. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Michael, who says, DK, at what point do you look at changing goalie coaches? Mike, you're not the only one to bring that up, especially over the last 24 to 36 hours, and can't imagine why. Andy Chiodo is the goaltending coach. Mike Harris is the goaltending, I'm trying to remember what his title is. He was added director of goaltending. That's what it is. He is the one who oversees the position at multiple levels and strives for some sort of consistency. And unfortunately, what everybody saw over the weekend between Alex Nedeljkovic and Joel Blomqvist was a whole lot of consistency, meaning not only were they being beaten, but they were being beaten in a similar fashion. A lot of high shots, a lot of high glove shots. Now, whenever goaltending goes bad, and I mean really bad, like it was against the Capitals and Rangers, it's going to be, almost without fail, the upstairs area of the net that gets exposed, because goaltenders will start flailing, and when you're flailing, you're down low. The opponent sees you down low, they're going to shoot up high. So it doesn't matter if you're operating with something of a height disadvantage. Ned's not the biggest guy, but Blomqvist is 6'3" and performed as if he was 5'8". And it's going to look like commonalities. This is something that happens really across the board in sports. If all of a team's quarterbacks can't complete passes, we're going to be talking about either the quarterback's coach or the offensive coordinator. If all of the pitchers can't throw a strike, we're going to be talking about the pitching coach. And there can't be any doubt that over the course of this season, the Penguins goaltending, all of them, all three of them, have not gotten the job done. The Penguins collectively have the second worst save percentage in hockey. Only the Sharks are worse. So who do you go after next? Well, you go after the goalie coach. I can't tell you with conviction that Chiodo is either part of the solution or part of the problem. I can tell you with immense conviction that nobody will outwork the guy, that he's had a terrific relationship with all of his goaltenders. And kind of laying this out here, unlike a lot of people who take on this position anymore, anywhere in hockey, he made it to the NHL. Wasn't a star by any means, and it wasn't exactly during the Penguins' glory years, for those of you who remember it, but he made it. About a month ago, after a game in Detroit, I was asking Ned to go over how he handles, in general, a tough game. What's the process that he goes through? And his response was, it doesn't have anything to do with a tough game. That he and Chiodo will sit there and go over film of things that he did well, things that he might not have done as well. And it's not going to be in some massive portions. They're not going to sit there and study, if he makes 29 saves on 31 shots. They're not going to go over all 31. That's going to be on Kyoto to go over certain very, very, very specific things that he wants to make sure that his goaltenders don't get away from. It might be, for example, how you hug the post on a wraparound, how you'll fight to see the puck, how you'll choose whether you're looking to the right of a screen or to the left of a screen when it's a point shot. How close does the puck carrier need to be before you attempt a poke check? Those are the kinds of things that they talk about a lot more than did you miss your angle? Because if you missed your angle, you just missed your angle. But again, I say all that, and I can't know. I can't know to what extent you would be able to either praise or pan the goaltending coach in this situation, because I'm not sitting in the rooms with them. What I just gave you is probably as much as anybody can give you, because it's coming right from one of the goalies. And listen, if you're asking my opinion, I want to see a really gifted goaltender come into the equation before I'd make any sort of grand sweeping judgment. And, not to bring this up again, but if I thought the Penguins were really, really worried about, say, for example, do we have the right goaltending coach to work with our most talented kid, that of course being Sergei Murashov, maybe they wouldn't have Murashov in Wheeling right now. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.